All right, guys, we got to talk about the 30th anniversary stuff now that they've announced a lot of the classic collection. So it looks like there's going to be 30 cards in the classic collection. Plus, they've talked about some of these big cards called futuristic rares. So it looks like Mew and Mewtwo are going to have those type of rares, and then it looks like there's going to be two versions of Pikachu as a futuristic rare that is going to be, at least in Japanese, part of a product where those are the promotional cards. So I'm sure those will be incredibly popular and super difficult to get hold of. Interested to see what that looks like when it comes out in English products. But I wanted to talk about not just like some of the cards that are in it, but kind of first opinions on it. Without seeing the cards in person yet, especially the futuristic rares, I got to be honest. I feel a little bit of a letdown. Um, the futuristic rares look interesting. They look like cards that would be in like TCG Pocket or something like that instead of actual printed cards. Um, they do kind of look like digitally created art. Um, so I've always had mixed feelings on those types of cards that looked less illustrated and more digitally designed. Um, I guess if you want how I delineate between the two. Um, so I'm a huge Mewtwo fan though, so of course I would love to get my hands on one of them just to have it as part of the collection. But I just don't know at this point. Like it, just seeing it on a screen so far, it's not really impressive to me. And then on top of that, out of the 30 classic collection cards, for me personally, there's only like a handful of them that I would want in particular. Um, whether it be just the collection standpoint, like the cool artwork or nostalgia. Um, you got the base set Charizard, so of course, everybody loves that card. So of course I'd love to have that. They have the tag team with Zekrom and Pikachu. I think that's really cool. Tag teams are one of my favorite types of cards. I wasn't involved in collecting at that point with all those eras like Sun and Moon and all um, that incorporate a lot of the tag teams. So I missed out on a lot of that. Um, so I like that they're bringing that back. The Crystal Lugia looks really cool as well. Lugia's, got to be, I think for me, in top five of Pokemon in general, but it's like the e-reader kind of design. Then you have Misty as a trainer card, and then the Erica's or Jigglypuff, I think. Yeah, Erica's Jigglypuff. And so those for nostalgia's sake, because that's from when I was collecting. Um, I like those. So, I mean, off the bat that's about five of them, I think, that I would have interest in. You know, I I understand and they had it in celebrations too, right? Back for the 25th anniversary that they incorporated cards in the classic collection that were not just like um really sought after from a collector standpoint. They incorporated cards that were notable as far as the TCG gameplay goes. And I understand that, and that makes sense to me. But in a case where some of these cards aren't even going to be playable, um, potentially in the card game, I don't understand why they would make a set where we're centering around a lot of cards that are just notable for the gameplay when they're like just EXs or GXs and nothing that was particularly um, special about them, right? They're relatively pedestrian card in terms of design and maybe even rarity, right? So from a collector's perspective, um, I'm not really digging those aspects. Again, I wasn't around um, the hobby at that point as well, so um, you know, I'm open to people educating me in the comments. Go ahead, tell me why some of those cards are cool and worthwhile. I think there's like a Zacian V in there too. I'm just like, okay, I understand like we want to pay homage to these cards that might have been big in the gameplay area. But I think the vast amount of collectors and don't necessarily care for that. Um, and then if we're gonna be honest, like these celebration anniversary type sets, I don't really see them being leaned on for competitive usage. So I don't know that you're gonna see people who actually play the TCG really spending a ton of money trying to like chase these cards that are just like GXs or EXs because they were good in gameplay, you know? Um, so, in my personal opinion, it kind of missed the mark, like I said, for me, for my taste, and it's 30 cards, about five, maybe six of them. I think the Magikarp, I wouldn't mind getting that too because obviously it's so expensive in English and even Japanese now at this point. Um, you know, I think that would be cool to have, at least just to have that artwork in a collection. But I just don't think, for me, it lived up to, kind of the hype for, or my hope, my um, desire of what it would have entailed. So, of course, let me know what you guys think. Hit up the comments. Put me on blast if you think, my take is um, so wrong that you feel moved to comment. Um, you know, of course, I'll try to get them in the shop and that sort of thing so that people can check them out um, for themselves and if they want to rip it and that kind of thing. I expect it to be insanely expensive. I think it merely just being the novelty of it being an anniversary set, it'll still be very expensive, even if there are, common opinions across the community that relate to mine. So, it's kind of a wait and see at this point. So we'll see in September when they release it worldwide. So appreciate you guys checking out the video. Remember, at Scro Rips, we do go live on YouTube as well as TikTok. We do live rips, and you can always check out our shop for any sealed orders you'd like. That's at scrowrips.com. And appreciate you guys checking it out. See ya.